Hey guys, welcome to this AWS DevOps session by Intellipaat. So first let us look at the agenda before moving on with this session. Let us take a look. So first we'll be looking at what is AWS. There are a number of YouTube videos in our channel. We give tutorials for AWS, you can check that out. But I give you a brief explanation about it. And after that, we'll look at what is DevOps. And after looking at what is DevOps, I'll give you an introduction to AWS DevOps. Moving on, we'll look at the various developer tools provided by AWS, and we'll be looking at four essential tools: CodeDeploy, CodeBuild, CodeCommit, and CodePipeline. After learning those services, we will create a complete DevOps lifecycle using these DevOps tools. So once we've completed the project, I'll give you a brief summary about what you have learned in this session so that you can recap what you have learned by yourself. So let's get ahead with this session.
So what is AWS? AWS abbreviates as Amazon Web Services. AWS is a platform. It is a cloud providing platform which will help businesses or even individuals scale their business and also grow offering secure cloud service. They provide you computing power like virtual machines, and they provide you content delivery like CloudFront, CDNs. They provide you database storage and also normal storage. And they provide various services for analytics like Kinesis, and for simple storing data you can use S3. Amazon Web Services is the number one cloud provider in the world. After that comes Azure and GCP. So Amazon Web Services is also used by a lot of Fortune 500 companies, guys. So this is the basic information about AWS. And also AWS has 69 availability zones in 22 different regions across the world. So this means your website which you have in a particular country, for example, if you are in India and you're launching a website online, you want that website to be available for everyone in the world. So you can use AWS to get a global reach. So you can use AWS for that. So this is the basic information, guys. Now let us see what is DevOps. So AWS is a technology. So now let us see what is DevOps actually. So DevOps is not a technology. It is not a tool. DevOps is a methodology. DevOps is a way of operating a business. It is like agile or a scrum process. So basically it is a way of moving on with the business, creating a process which automates everything in your business, from coding till the deployment part. So basically DevOps is development operations put together, and you can see a simple infinity symbol over here. That it's not actually an infinity symbol. This is showing that it never ends. It automates itself. So first you plan, you create your project. After that, verification, that is testing. After that, it is packaged and it is sent to the operational floor where they release it to the world. So till here it will be within the development team. Then it will be released to the world. After that, you can do configurations, you can monitor your application. And again, once again, after monitoring, you'll be getting a lot of telemetry, which you can use to make the application better. So you again go to plan and create. So this is the process which keeps on happening. And you can see the motto over here, guys, that is DevOps is the union of people, process and products to enable continuous delivery of value to our end users. This particular statement was told by Donovan Brown, the Azure DevOps manager. So what this means is that DevOps is not a software service. So you don't use it just for software. You can use DevOps for anything, for delivering value. Value is the main motive, guys. It is not the software or any other product. You can provide value to your customers through any medium, but in our case it is software. So what basically value means, you create a website and you have 4 different features. So 3 different features are constantly used by users, but that one feature is not getting used. So that feature is not delivering value to your end users. So how to deliver or how to make that feature more valuable, and so that many end users are going to use it. So you either remove it or create a much better solution, and you can create a DevOps lifecycle. You can implement all of that over here. So you can see, you can monitor whether that particular feature is providing value. If it doesn't, you can just remove. For example, your website is having 10,000 customers every day, but only one of them is using a particular feature. That means it's not providing value, and also you are consuming a lot of resources to launch that particular feature in your website. So actually you don't need it, so you can remove it. So this is how DevOps works. It is basically a process. You can plan, create, and do all these steps, and you can automate it using DevOps tools. Moving on. So introduction to AWS DevOps. The first thing is, why DevOps on AWS? So you can use DevOps on any cloud service or even on your on-premise environment. So if you have a business running, you will have an on-premise environment. You might have an infrastructure for yourself. You can run it on it also. But why AWS DevOps? That we'll see moving on. So first, what is AWS DevOps? AWS DevOps is a set of developer tools which is provided by Amazon Web Services. This allows us to create a CI/CD pipeline from the scratch to the deployment stage, that is from the source. For example, a version control tool, maybe GitHub, maybe Azure Repos, maybe AWS CodeCommit. So from the source stage till the deploy stage, we can do everything. It is the same as any DevOps tools, any DevOps lifecycle, or any DevOps process, but the tools are provided by AWS. And then, so why AWS for DevOps? What are going to be the benefits of using DevOps on AWS? So the first thing is fully managed services, guys. So we know why do we use a cloud service? Because we don't want to manage our tools or the VMs we have launched, the data we have stored. We don't want to manage it, or we don't have to install softwares on it. We don't have to do anything. It is all taken care by AWS. They take care of our infrastructure. So that is the first reason, guys, fully managed services. And then built for scale. Because AWS DevOps, you will be using it on existing services like EC2 or Lambda. So when you use on them, they already have a scaling feature within them. So obviously it is built for scale. So you can easily scale it up or down. And then programmable. You can write scripts, you can write shell scripts, you can create a program which you can implement inside AWS Developer Tools, which can actually impact your DevOps lifecycle. And then automation. So DevOps is mainly automation. So automation is one of the main reasons, and automation is available in everything like Azure DevOps, AWS DevOps, even in GCP. If you are implementing DevOps, automation will be available over there. Or if you manually use DevOps tools to create a DevOps lifecycle, even then automation is required. So DevOps main motive is automation. And then secure. Yes, AWS provides security and it is their first priority. And then pay as you go. Pay as you go model is that whatever you use, you only pay for that, nothing else. For example, you will launch a virtual machine using CodeDeploy. So that virtual machine is running for 2 hours and then it gets terminated. So you'll have to only pay for that 2 hours time. You don't have to pay for creating a virtual machine and running it. You don't have to pay a month's fee. You just have to pay the money for that particular 2 hours. So moving on. Now we've discussed what are the benefits of having DevOps on AWS. Now we'll see what are the tools provided by AWS. So these are the 4 tools provided by AWS, guys, and these are the most basic tools. There are still more tools for developing, but these are the 4 most basic tools for creating a DevOps lifecycle. So the first one is CodeCommit, and then CodeBuild, and then CodeDeploy and CodePipeline. So let us discuss them. Let's discuss these developer tools in detail now. So first let us discuss CodeCommit. So the name suggests that CodeCommit is a version control tool. It is like GitHub. So it is like Bitbucket. It is a version control tool, guys, but it is provided by AWS, and it also provides the same features GitHub provides or Bitbucket provides. You can do all of those stuff which is available over there, like committing, pull requests, merging branches. You can do all of it even using CodeCommit. You can also see over here CodeCommit allows 5 active users per month. So basically this is going to be your private repository. So it allows 5 users per month. If you have a startup and you only have 5 members, you can actually use CodeCommit and you won't be charged even a single rupee. And also you will be given 50 GB of space every month. So for example, our repositories maybe maximum of a size of 1 MB or 2 MB, but 50 GB, they provide 50 GB of space for the repository, guys. And also 10,000 Git requests per month, like pull or push requests. So this is CodeCommit. It is a tool. It is like GitHub. It is like Bitbucket. It is the same kind of tool, but it is provided by AWS. And then AWS CodeBuild. So the name suggests that this tool is for building your application. So it provides a fully managed CI service, that is continuous integration service. It will compile your source code. You can run tests, you can run unit tests, and also provide software packages and store it in AWS S3 so that you can take out those packages and use it to deploy your application. So you can see here AWS CodeBuild, 100 build minutes. That is, if you run a build, it might run for 20 seconds. So like that, you can run any number of builds which come up to 100 build minutes. And also it runs using build.general 1.small compute type usage. So it runs with this, and for every month you get 100 build minutes free. Moving on, AWS CodeDeploy. This is one of the important service, guys. This service is used to deploy your application on any service you choose, like EC2 or Lambda. So it is an automated deployment tool which can deploy services like EC2, Lambda, Beanstalk. So even if you launch Beanstalk, it will be launched in an EC2 instance or Fargate, and also your on-premise setup. So these are the 4 benefits provided by AWS CodeDeploy. So first is automated deployments, and then minimized downtime, centralized control, and easy to adopt. So the first one is automated deployments. Is when you set it up, whenever there is a change in your repository, it automatically runs again, it builds your code again, and it gives it back. So that's what automated deployment means. It doesn't build and it stores, it actually deploys it again. Whenever there is a change in your code, it deploys and the change will be visible in your website. And then minimize downtime. So whenever the code is changed, it takes very less seconds. Your website will be down for maybe 1 to 2 seconds, and the change will be on your website, guys. So it minimizes the downtime. For example, when you do it manually, you will have to go to your system or your server where your website is launched, and you will have to change your code over there. When you do that, the downtime increases, but using CodeDeploy you can minimize that. So I'll show that in the demo, guys. And then centralized control, you can just use your command line interface of AWS or the management console, and you can control all of the operations happening in CodeDeploy, CodeCommit, and CodeBuild. And then easy to adopt, you can see works with any application, and same experience whether you are deploying it on EC2, AWS, or Lambda. That means whatever service you are deploying it to, maybe EC2 or Lambda or Fargate or Elastic Beanstalk, it provides you the same UI with the same experience. So it doesn't change, it is the same thing, but the deployment environment is different. So this is CodeDeploy, guys. And then finally, AWS CodePipeline. So we are going to use CodePipeline. We can use CodePipeline to create a CI/CD pipeline, guys. We can use all those services to do that. So first thing, it is a continuous delivery tool. That's why it is called a CI/CD pipeline. So it is also fully managed by AWS. As I told you, that is one of the benefit. And also you can automate your website, or you can automate your application which is running on CodeDeploy. So when you create a pipeline, whenever there's a change in code, it automatically pushes it to CodeDeploy and the change will be made. So that's how you use CodePipeline, guys. You can see over here, take it as an example pipeline. You have some website over in your source, that is your GitHub. So you build it and you test it using some programs. So after testing it, you can give any number of stages. This is staging. This means you will be seeing this deployed, but you will be seeing it in a IP address which only you might see. You might have given the security group like that. But in production, when it gets deployed in production, then you can view your website using the IP address or the DNS name from any other computer, guys. So this is how you use AWS Code Pipeline. And then, so you can see over here, easy to integrate AWS Code Pipeline with GitHub or with your own custom plugin. So you can integrate GitHub and Code Pipeline easily. You can just click on connect to GitHub. There is an option for that. Or you can use your own custom plugin, like you would have created something in Bitbucket or any other version control tool. You can even use that. And then also it is pay for what you use. It's the same thing, guys. And also there is no upfront costs or long-term commitments. So it is basically free. Whatever services you launch using it, for example, the EC2 instance, so those are charged, not these services like Pipeline or CodeDeploy. And also rapid delivery, which basically means whenever there is a change in your code and it is applied to the master branch, it will be applied to your website directly. And then configurable workflow. The workflow, you will have an UI. You can configure your workflow, how it should happen, which is the deployment server, which is the production server, which is the QA server, or you can mention builds or you can skip builds. So you can create a workflow for your own advantage. And then get started fast. This basically means it's pretty easy. They have a lot of documentation, guys. You can just go on, create your own pipeline in no other than like half an hour. So it takes only that much time. And then it is easy to integrate. You can integrate AWS Code Pipeline with any service. You can integrate with even Jenkins. So this is what they say, easy to integrate. So right now let us move on and let us create a CD pipeline using Code Pipeline and CodeDeploy, guys. So let me open my GitHub repository. So let me close this. So this is the GitHub repository which I am going to use, guys. So you can see over here index.html, abspec.yml, readme. This is the readme file, and then I have some scripts. So first I'll show the index.html file. So it is basically a hello world HTML. And then the next thing, the most important thing is abspec.yml. So this is a YAML file. So what it does is, you can see over here, the source is index.html, destination is this. So this is where Apache 2 installs its index.html file, but we'll be deleting that file and launching our hello world application. So you can see here before install, script/install dependencies and script/server, start server. So I'll show that what actually is there. I'm going to scripts, install dependencies. So in install dependencies, you can see, guys, it updates the instance. After updating the instance, it will install Apache 2. And also, guys, in your script, make sure to provide -y. This means yes, because you cannot go inside and click enter yes. So whenever you provide -yes, it will automatically take the command as yes and it will install the whole software. So whichever software needs a yes, provide a -y, guys. So if you don't provide, it will fail. And then it will remove the index.html file in. So it will remove the index.html file in this location that will be created by Apache 2, and that will be the Ubuntu default page created by Apache 2, but I don't want that page to be launched. I want my page to be launched. That is my hello world page. So these are the stuff I wanted to show you. Abspec.yml, I'll show why we need that, where it will be used. So now let us start off with our management console. So the first thing we'll be doing is we'll have to create a code deploy, guys. So I'll go to code deploy first, and also I'll open. So if I go to code deploy, basically you can see all of this over here. You can see source, repositories. You can actually create a repository, guys. To create a repository is very simple. You can just provide a name, for example, website. And then if you want, you can provide a description, or you can just create. That's it. But one more thing, you cannot use your repository from your root account. You will have to use it from your IAM user, which you can create, but you cannot use it from your root account, guys. So I'm not going to use this. I'm directly going to use from my GitHub. So this is, it's actually pretty simple. And then build build is for, as I told you, it is for building your application. But right now I'm launching my website. So I'm going to use only CodeDeploy and CodePipeline, guys. So first thing we'll have to do is we'll have to create a CodeDeploy application. So let me click on application. So I already have one. So this is what I tried. So create application. The first thing it asks is your application name. So I'm going to provide it as web server and Apache 2. So web server Apache 2, this is going to be my application name, and here compute platform. This is the most important thing, guys, because here you can see EC2, then AWS Lambda and ECS. I'm not going to use Lambda or ECS. I'm going to use my EC2 instance. So you'll have to click on EC2 and then create application. You'll have to select it over there because we'll be creating a deployment group which will be targeting the EC2 instance which we mention using tags. If you want to use Lambda, you can choose that also, but I want to use my EC2 instance, guys. So now we'll have to create a deployment group. But to create a deployment group, we will need a EC2 instance. But currently I don't have an EC2 instance, guys. So because we'll have to mention EC2 instance over here, I'll have to mention my tag over here. So before moving on with creating a deployment group, I'll create a EC2 instance. So first, what is deployment group? So deployment group is it directs or it targets to which instance should this particular CodeDeploy application should deploy the application to. That is the website. So deployment group. So let me create the EC2 instance first. Let me teach you how to do that and also how to install CodeDeploy agent in that, because without installing CodeDeploy agent in your instance, you will not be able to use CodeDeploy for your instance, any instance which you use. So I'm going to use a Ubuntu server, guys. So I'm going to EC2. So I think you would have learned how to launch an instance from our other videos which are available in our channel. So currently I'll not be explaining each and every step in creating an instance, but I'll teach how to create an instance which will benefit in using CodeDeploy. So the first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to go to EC2 dashboard and then go to instances, click on launch instance, guys. So you can see over here, choose AMI. AMI is Amazon Mission Images. Basically this means the ISO file. That is, you can see this is Amazon Linux, this is Red Hat, this is SUSE Linux, this is Ubuntu, and also you'll be having Microsoft Windows. So you can choose any of this and launch the server. But I want a Ubuntu server, guys. I'm going to launch my website in my Ubuntu server. So I'll be selecting this. And then these are instance types. You can choose any instance, but I'm going to go with free tier eligible instance, t2.micro, which doesn't cost me any money up till 750 hours every month. So you can use this particular instance, you can run this instance for 750 hours every month. So I'm going to go with t2.micro. Next. And here number of instance, I just need one instance. And then one more thing, guys. This is the most important thing. You will have to include a IAM role. So why an IAM role? Because the CodeDeploy agent should access your EC2 instance, and also the EC2 instance should be connected to your CodeDeploy agent. So to give a connection between these two AWS services, you will have to attach an IAM role. I already have created an IAM role, guys. So I'm just going to go to EC2 CodeDeploy. If you don't have one, you can just go over here. I'll tell the basic how to create a role. So role, create role. You will have to choose the service which you are creating the IAM role for. So EC2, next permissions, and here you will have to provide CodeDeploy. So you can see Amazon EC2 role for CodeDeploy. You can just choose this, and next you can provide a name over here and create the role, guys. So I already have created a role. So you can see over here EC2. So I already have created a role using that particular permission. So I have created, if you want, you can create it. If you already have, you don't need to. So I have it, I chose the IAM role. And then also I'll have to enter user data. So what does user data mean? So basically user data is the commands or scripts which you want to run while the instance is being created. Once the instance gets created, these commands and these scripts will be automatically run. So we don't need to open the instance and run all of these. This will be automatically run if you enter the user data over here. So I have the user data over here, guys. You can see over here, basically it will update my instance. It will install Ruby. Actually Ruby is required for CodeDeploy, and then if you want you can install wget, or wget is already available in your EC2 instances. And then I'm going to this location, and there I'm going to install my CodeDeploy. After installing that, I'm just modifying my permissions, and after that I'm installing CodeDeploy, which got downloaded. After it gets downloaded, now I'm starting CodeDeploy, guys. After installing CodeDeploy, I'm going to start the CodeDeploy service. Only if it is started, then I can connect my EC2 instance and CodeDeploy. So I'll copy these and enter it in CodeDeploy, guys. That's it. So this is what we have to enter, and you can see over here it asks for, I've given -y. So basically -y means yes. So when you install Ruby, it basically asks yes. So providing -y doesn't affect that. It will provide yes automatically. So we've done all of the required things over here, and then adding storage, 8 GB is more than enough. And then you'll have to add a tag, guys. So to add a tag, hit on add tag. Then I want to, the key is going to be name, and my value is going to be web server. So this is going to be my value. Why I'm creating this tag? Because I'm going to use this tag to, so I'll have to enter this tag over here so that this CodeDeploy identifies this particular instance, guys. So moving on, next, configuring security group. So already SSH is available, but I actually don't need to SSH into my instance. But right now I'm going to allow an HTTP rule, because I need HTTP, because I'm launching a website, guys. My website needs HTTP. Without HTTP, my website will not be able to be seen using a URL, and also it can be seen from any IP address across the world. If they are using my IP address from any browser from anywhere in the world and through internet, they can see my website, guys. So reviewing and launching it. This is just for making sure if everything is right. So I'm good with it. And you'll have to choose the key pair, guys. If you already have a key pair, you can just choose the existing key pair and move on and click on launch instances. And now your instance has been launched. So you can just go to view instance. You can see my instance is being created right now. It's in pending state. So only if this is running. So right now I think I can see it over here. So right now just I'll go back, and now let me start creating this deployment group. So my instance, let it get created. So my deployment group name is going to be web server deploy. So web server deploy 1. And one more thing, you'll have to enter a service role, guys. This service role allows this CodeDeploy to connect with EC2 and other services like S3 or whichever you mention. So I have this service role. You can also create a service role for CodeDeploy. So I showed you how to create a service role for EC2. So this shows how to create a service role for CodeDeploy, guys. And then let it be in place, and then environment configuration. In environment configuration, you will have to mention whether you're going to connect your auto scaling group or your individual EC2 instances or your on-premise instances. I'm going to connect my EC2 instance, which is running right now. It is initializing, guys. So right now, if I just hit name, and you can see many values. My value was capital W web and capital S server. So I'm going to choose that. So now you can see there is one matching instance. If I click here for details, you can see over here, and my instance is showing. So this is the instance, and it is showing. So that I have connected this CodeDeploy group. So it is connected with this particular instance, guys. My deployment group targets to that instance. So now I'm good to go. And here you can see deployment settings, deployment configuration. So one at a time, half at a time, all at once. If you're having a lot of instances running, guys, sorry. If you have a lot of instances running, guys, you can provide half at a time. And after, for example, you have 10 instances, first 5 instances will run. After that, the next 5 instances will start. So if you provide one at a time, if you have 10 instances, first the first instance will get the website, and then the next, and then the next. So it will go one by one. After that, if you give all at once, all of the instances which you have provided, which you have mentioned, will get the website at the same time. So right now I have only one instance, so it doesn't matter if I choose any of these. I'm going to go with all at once. And I'm not using any load balancing, so I'm going to cancel that. And I'm creating my deployment group. So you can see additional settings. Actually, I don't have any alarms or triggers. So I'm just going to go with creating my deployment group. So here you can see I have created my deployment group, and also there is an edit option. Sorry guys. So you can edit it or delete it, or you can create a deployment from here. But I'm not going to create a deployment from here, guys. I'm going to create a pipeline which will do that for me automatically. So if I create a deployment from here, every time I'll have to come to CodeDeploy and click on create deployment. I'll have to click on that button, which will create a new deployment every time I change my GitHub code or code in any repository, guys. So instead of doing that, I can just create a pipeline which will do that automatically for me. So right now we've created an application and it has a deployment group, guys. So we are good with that. We've learned how to create a CodeDeploy application and a deployment group, and also how to connect a EC2 instance with CodeDeploy. So you can see it's still initializing because we've run some commands. So those commands will be running inside. Normally it doesn't take this much time. So right now it's running. So that's okay, guys. So next, CodePipeline. So you only using CodePipeline, we're going to connect our GitHub and CodeDeploy. So whenever there is a change in GitHub, so it will be available in our instance. So right now I already created a pipeline which succeeded, and right now I'm going to create a new pipeline for my new CodeDeploy application. So first thing, I'll have to provide a name. I'm going to provide web server pipe. So it will create a role. So it needs a role. It needs a service role, and it will create it automatically. We don't need to create it again and again. And then advanced settings, just click on default location and default AWS management key. Basically, default location means the artifacts, that is the data which will be stored while we run this. That data will be stored in this bucket. So the data will be stored in code line US East 1 and this number. So it will be stored in this S3 bucket, guys. So that is default location. If you have any other bucket where you want to store your artifacts, you can provide it in custom location. And then next, now you'll have to choose your source provider. My source provider is GitHub. So I'm choosing GitHub. And the first thing it asks is connect to GitHub. So I'll have to click on it. It takes me and it connected with my GitHub account because I have already logged in. And then repository, I'll have to choose the repository which I have to deploy. So my website is in this repository, which is also called website. So I'm just going to click on it. And branch, I have only one branch, that is master. And then next. So I don't need a build, guys. Actually, this is a website. There is nothing to be built. It is a HTML page. There is nothing to be built. So I don't need to worry about building. So I'm going to skip build stage. So now you'll have to deploy. You'll have to click on a deploy provider. So you can see over here, there are various deployment options. You can choose Amazon S3 and launch this website as a static website. You can choose Amazon ECS. You can choose Alexa skill sets. You can choose OpsWorks, even Elastic Beanstalk, and then cloud formations also. But right now, as we are doing CodeDeploy and CodePipeline, I'm going to choose CodeDeploy because I already have a CodeDeploy application. So I'm clicking on it. You'll have to choose the region where we created. My code deploy is in North Virginia, so I'm good to go. If I click on this, it should show all of the code deploy applications available in the region. You can see over here web server Apache and a web server Apache 2. So mine is web server Apache 2. I'll have to choose that. And then deployment group, I have only one deployment group, I'm choosing it and moving on. Next. So this is again same thing, basic stuff. It asks you to review it. You can review it if you want, or you can just move on. So right now let me see my instance is running. So currently if I see, so there is nothing available, guys. So let me run this pipeline. So let me create this pipeline. So if I create this pipeline, what do you expect will be available? So there will be an UI with two things, that is the source stage and the deploy stage. So congratulations, the pipeline web server pipe has been created. So you can see source. My source is GitHub and it is in progress. Once it gets succeeded, then it will move on to deploy stage. And you can see over here, you can edit this. You can add more stages, that is more source over here. You can add more deployment stages over here, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to, because I have already created. So right now GitHub has been succeeded. My code has been properly taken. So it took merge branch master from this particular GitHub repository. So right now code deploy is running, guys. So I'll go to details. Let us check whether this succeeds or not. Only if this gets succeeded, then my website will be available. So you can see, oh, my code deploy got succeeded. So right now if I go here, you can see all the events happened and also whether it is succeeded or not. If any of this was not succeeded, for example, if this gets failed, so you will see the error code over here, and if you click on that error code, it will take you to a log page which will show what error is available in your code. So you can use that to debug your application. So you can see over here, succeeded, before install succeeded. So before install took 13 seconds. Why? Because in my app.spec.yaml file, you can see before install will install dependencies, and also it will start the server. So as it already showed you in my scripts, so install dependencies will update my application once again, my instance once again. It will install Apache 2. It will also remove the HTML page, index.html page within this location, because I want to launch my application, guys. So then start server will start my Apache 2 service. So only if the Apache 2 service is started, then I'll be able to see my website. So right now, as my pipeline is succeeded, I should see my website, guys. If I go over here, if I choose my IP or my DNS name, if I go over here and hit. So right now you can see hello world to Intellipaat. This is the website which is currently running, guys. So I'll go on show over here, index.html, and you can see hello world to Intellipaat. So right now, as I told you, this pipeline should automatically execute whenever there is a change in the master branch. So because that is what we mentioned, whenever there is a change in the master branch in this repository, this pipeline should automatically run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change few values over here. So I'm going to just change to hello world, and then I'm going to commit my changes to master branch. So once I commit my changes, if I go over here, it should automatically start. So it is currently in progress because I have changed my code. After some time, you can see there will be a commit ID. The commit, which commit it took, will be present over here. Once it succeeds, that change will be implemented in my CodeDeploy agent. That is my EC2 instance automatically, guys. You can see source update index.html because this is my latest commit. This is the latest commit ID which it took. So you can see it's running, guys. So right now, hello world to Intellipaat. So now it changed to hello world. So this gets succeeded and this changed to hello world. and you saw there was no downtime over here. So this is why you use a DevOps pipeline. This is how you create a pipeline using CodeDeploy and your version control tool. So whenever there is a change happening in your version control tool, whenever there is a change happening here, so whenever there is a change happening in your version control tool, that is this change when it is committed in the master branch, once it is committed in the master branch, this pipeline will automatically detect the change happened in your GitHub. It will take the latest commit made and it will run it once again. Once it succeeded, once it is properly run, then it provides the code to CodeDeploy. So CodeDeploy right now will download the contents of this particular GitHub repository. It will store in some location. We do not know where exactly it stores it. It stores it in some location. It will copy the index.html file into /var/www/html. So only if the index.html is available in that particular location, it will be taken by Apache 2 server, guys. So you can see this is how you create a code pipeline and using CodeDeploy and GitHub. So we've learned how to do this. So right now let me recap all of the stuff we learned in this session, guys, and after that we'll end this session. So the first thing, I'll go to the slides once again. I'll come from the beginning. I'll just go quick. So first thing, what is AWS? It is a cloud provider. It's the number one cloud provider in the world. So many Fortune 500 companies are using it, and it provides you a lot of services with a lot of benefits. And also you have a pay-as-you-go method. That is, you'll only have to pay for the time you have consumed those services. And then what is DevOps? DevOps is a methodology. It is a union of people, process, and products to enable continuous delivery of value to our end users. So it is basically providing value continuously to our end users without reducing the downtime and also increasing the deployment speeds. And then introduction to AWS DevOps. So basically it is using DevOps principles on AWS, and there are few developer tools which is used to do that. And then why AWS for DevOps? Because fully managed services, you can scale easily, programmable, and then automation. You can automate your entire company's process, and then it is secure. And also, as I said already, it is pay as you go. And then we saw all of these 4 services: CodeCommit, CodeBuild, CodeDeploy, and CodePipeline. And then so we saw these 2 tools, and here we learned how to create a CodeDeploy application and also how to create a CodeDeploy deployment group. So using CodeDeploy, we created a deployment group which basically targets to a particular instance. And then CodePipeline. So we use the version control tool GitHub and also CodeDeploy to create a pipeline, so that whenever there is a change made in my GitHub, so whenever there is change made there, it will send that changed code to CodeDeploy, so that change will be available in my instance also, so that it will reduce downtime and the change will be automatically made in my website. So right now you can see over here, so this is my this also I explained rapid delivery. You can configure your workflows. It is very easy to start, and also you can integrate it with many of those version control tools or other tools like Jenkins, and also you can connect it with Elastic Beanstalk or EC2 or S3. So you can connect it with other AWS services also. And then finally we learned how to create a CI/CD pipeline, and so this is what we learned. We created an instance, we created a deployment group, and after that we created a code pipeline using the source from my GitHub repository and the deploy as my CodeDeploy application, which has a deployment group which targets to this instance, guys. So after that, when we ran everything, if everything ran successfully, so my website got changed whenever I changed my code in my GitHub repository also. So this is how you create a CI/CD pipeline, guys.